The small workshop smelled of metal, oil, and persistence. It was tucked between old brick buildings on the edge of town, a place most people passed without noticing. Inside, Ethan Miller, a 22-year-old mechanic with a heart as big as his dreams, was hunched over an engine part, his hands covered in grease. The rhythmic clicking of his tools echoed like music in the quiet afternoon. Ethan wasn't just a mechanic, he was a fixer of lost causes. Orphaned at 15, he had learned to survive by repairing what others threw away. Bikes, radios, washing machines, even the occasional toy. People often said he had magic hands, but he knew it wasn't magic, it was hope that drove him. As rain began to fall outside, the bell above the workshop door jingled. Ethan looked up to see a woman standing there, drenched, clutching the handles of a broken electric wheelchair. Sitting in it was a small girl, no older than 10, her legs thin beneath a pink blanket. Despite the cold, she smiled shyly. "Are you Ethan?" the woman asked hesitantly. "People say you can fix anything." Ethan wiped his hands on a rag and approached. His eyes fell on the chair. It was a complicated model, foreign-made, wires hanging out, rust creeping up the frame. "I can take a look," he said, crouching beside it. "But this one looks advanced. What happened?" The woman sighed. "We've been everywhere, clinics, repair centers, even specialists in the city. They all said it's beyond repair." Her voice cracked. "She hasn't been able to move for months." Ethan glanced at the little girl. "What's your name?" "Lily," she replied softly. "Mom says my wheelchair's tired. Maybe it needs a nap." Her innocent words made Ethan smile, though his chest tightened with emotion. "Well, Lily," he said gently, "maybe your chair just needs a friend who knows how to wake it up." Lily giggled faintly, and for the first time, her mother's face softened. Ethan stood and said with quiet confidence, "Leave it with me. I'll do everything I can." As they left, the sound of rain mixed with the faint buzz of machines. Ethan ran his fingers along the wheelchair's frame, determination lighting his eyes. "You and I," he whispered to the broken chair. "We're going to make her smile again." The following evening, Ethan's small workshop was alive with the faint hum of tools and the occasional crackle of soldering iron. The rain had stopped, but the storm inside his mind raged on. He sat at his cluttered workbench, surrounded by wires, batteries, and parts salvaged from old drones and broken appliances. The wheelchair sat in the center of the room, its metal frame battered, its circuits fried, its control board corroded beyond recognition. Ethan studied it carefully, under the flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. "You're not just a machine," he murmured to it as though the chair could hear him. "You're Lily's legs, her freedom." He pulled out his worn notebook and began sketching ideas, new wiring patterns, makeshift motor systems, and modified battery connections. He didn't have access to original parts, but that had never stopped him before. Piece by piece, he began to build something entirely new. Hours slipped into days. Ethan barely ate or slept. His hands were blistered from solder burns, his eyes strained from staring at tiny circuits for too long. Each time he hit a roadblock, a motor that wouldn't start, a fuse that kept blowing, he'd pause, close his eyes, and think of Lily's hopeful smile. That image fueled him more than any cup of coffee could. Late one night, a soft knock echoed from the door. Lily's mother stood there, holding a small basket of food, her eyes filled with gratitude and worry. "You've been working day and night," she said gently. "Please take a break." Ethan smiled tiredly. "If I stop now, I might lose the rhythm." "Don't worry, I'm getting close." She looked at the scattered parts, at the determination in his eyes, and whispered, "You're doing more than anyone ever did for us." After she left, Ethan sat back down, heart pounding with renewed energy. He rewired the control module using drone motors and laptop batteries, soldering each connection with steady precision. Finally, when he connected the final wire, a faint hum filled the air. The wheelchair's wheels twitched, then slowly began to spin. Ethan froze, disbelief washing over him. "It's working," he whispered, a smile spreading across his face. "It's really working." He leaned back in his chair, exhaustion and joy colliding. "Lily," he said softly, "I think tomorrow you'll ride again." The morning sun spilled golden light into Ethan's workshop. casting long shadows over the cluttered workbenches and tools scattered across the floor. Outside, birds chirped cheerfully, but inside the air was thick with anticipation. Today was the day. Ethan wiped his hands on a rag for the 10th time, his heart thumping in his chest like a drum. The wheelchair, rebuilt, rewired and polished, sat gleaming under the soft light, its motors humming faintly in anticipation. A soft knock on the door made him jump. Lily's mother peeked inside, her face a mixture of hope and anxiety. "She's ready," she whispered. "Are you sure it's safe?" Ethan knelt beside the chair, adjusting the controls and testing the joystick. "I triple-checked everything," he said with a smile. "She'll be fine. I promise." Lily's small voice trembled as she stepped forward, her hands gripping the chair's arms. It looks different," she said softly, her eyes wide. The chair's frame had been reinforced, the wheels polished, and the motors now purred like a contented cat. "Hop in," Ethan said gently. Lily slowly sat, her tiny fingers brushing the joystick. Ethan guided her hands, showing her how to move forward and backward. The chair responded immediately, gliding across the floor with smooth precision. Lily's eyes sparkled. I can move!" she squealed, her voice a mix of disbelief and joy. She pushed the joystick forward, and the chair rolled gently, then faster, laughing along with her as she navigated the workshop. Ethan stepped aside, tears threatening to fall as he watched. Her mother clutched the doorway, overwhelmed with emotion. "I haven't seen her like this in months," she whispered. "Thank you. I don't even have words." Lily zoomed past Ethan, spinning in delight, her laughter echoing through the room. She stopped suddenly and hugged him tightly. "You made me walk again," she said, voice muffled against his shoulder. Ethan hugged her back, smiling through the tears that had started to fall. "Not just me," he said softly. "You did it too. You never gave up." As Lily and her mother left the workshop that morning, the world seemed brighter, the air lighter. Ethan stood at the doorway, watching them disappear down the street. Lily maneuvering the chair with newfound freedom. For the first time in years, he felt that warmth that comes from changing a life. Real, tangible, and unforgettable. In that moment, Ethan realized that some miracles aren't found in books or labs. They're built with grease, determination, and a heart willing to care. Weeks had passed since Lily's first ride in her rebuilt wheelchair, and the change was nothing short of miraculous. The once timid and hesitant girl now moved with confidence and joy. Each morning, she raced through the local park, the sunlight bouncing off her golden hair, her laughter carrying across the playground. Other children stopped to watch, their eyes wide with amazement, as Lily maneuvered effortlessly, spinning and gliding like she had always been able to. Ethan watched from a distance, leaning against his old workshop door, a smile tugging at the corners of his face. He couldn't help but feel pride swelling in his chest. It wasn't just about fixing a machine. It was about restoring a life, reigniting hope where it had long been forgotten. One afternoon, Lily's mother approached him, tears glistening in her eyes. "Ethan," she said, her voice trembling, "you've given her something no one else could. Not just mobility, but confidence, joy, and freedom. I don't know how to thank you." Ethan shrugged, brushing a smudge of grease from his cheek, seeing her smile. "And that's thanks enough." But Lily had her own way of showing gratitude. That evening, she ran into the workshop carrying a handmade card. "For you, Ethan," she exclaimed, her tiny hands trembling with excitement. Inside, it was filled with colorful drawings of her in her wheelchair, riding through the park, flowers and sunshine everywhere. Across the bottom, in her careful handwriting, it read, "You made me fly again." Ethan's eyes filled with tears as he hugged the card to his chest. He had repaired more than just circuits and motors. He had helped rebuild a young girl's world. Word of Ethan's miraculous repair spread through the town. Families who had lost hope in broken machines and impossible fixes began visiting his workshop. But for Ethan, it wasn't fame or recognition that mattered. It was seeing lives change, one small act of kindness at a time. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lily rolled up to the workshop one last time. Tomorrow, she said brightly. I'm going to the school field trip. I can go anywhere now. Ethan smiled, heart swelling with warmth. Yes, you can, Lily. The world is yours. And as she zoomed away, free and fearless, Ethan knew that sometimes the smallest acts of determination could create the biggest miracles. And that hope, like a wheelchair rebuilt with love, could carry someone far beyond what anyone thought possible.